What's up, everybody? Welcome to another live Live to Roll. I am Sean, your host, and yeah, we're here this week talking some newer injuries, and we're gonna be hearing about their stories and what it's been like dealing with everything during COVID and stuff. So, like I said, my name's Sean. I'm a C5, C6 quad. Tom, why don't you give yourself a quick intro?
Sure, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us again this week. My name is Tom Conway. Like Sean said, we're talking to a couple amazing people who have gone through this spinal cord injury stuff pretty recently in their life for the first time. We talked to a lot about newly injured people, and tried to talk to a lot of people going through this stuff for the first time because I think they're the ones that a lot of times gravitate towards these videos. But here we are talking to a few individuals, some of whom have already been on some of the Live Pro podcast. So to introduce some of our regulars, but new to the quadcast, I like to call it. Nikki and Ashley, do you guys mind introducing yourselves real quick?
Go you first. So I'm Nikki and this is Ashley. We're injured in a car accident in March of 2019. I'm a T6 paraplegic. She's a C4 quad. Quad. She's a quadder. And what else? I
And you
guess.
guys are twins.
Yeah, we're
Yes.
twins.
Oh,
Because
that's pretty unique. Like on top of, I guess, not sharing disability, you guys have probably shared quite a bit most of your lives. And if any of you guys have checked out the Lady podcast that is hosted once a month on the channel, Nikki and Ashley have been on before and talked some time to the audience. So thank you again for joining us. And another semi-regular to the podcast. We first met DJ in one of our chats on a show that we were having, I think, a few months back, and we were able to connect and bring him back. So, DJ, thank you so much for joining us. And do you mind introducing yourself first, real quick?
Yeah, I'm DJ Takvar. I was injured September 7th, 2020, so a little over 4 months ago, 4.5, getting on 5 months now. So dirt bike crash. I'm a I want to say T9. I don't remember. I broke my T8 and T9 vertebrae. But I'm a complete motor and incomplete sensory, so Asia B. But yeah, just taking it one day at a time. That's like my motto now. Take it
Yeah,
one day at a
one day
time.
at a time. It's funny because Sean and I are kind of coming at this. It's crazy for me to think back to my initial injury. I was 4 years old, so it was a very long time
Wow.
ago for me. Being 28 now, and how long ago were you
Yeah.
injured, Sean?
Well, actually, this Sunday will be my 17-year anniversary. So I'm just about
Wow.
hit 17 years is coming up in a few days.
Yeah, so that's
So
pretty crazy. And
yeah,
I
for
I just remember the impressions. Being so young, there was only so much I could gather, but I just remember the chaos of that time. There was so much new to understand and to gather and to figure out, and it was very, very overwhelming. I remember being in the hospital and kind of just being lost in all of it. I think a lot of people initially can be overwhelmed and lost in all of this. So I kind of wanted to just like dive and start. Like, do you guys mind talking about your initial like rehab experience a little bit in the hospital, like those first few weeks and how they went for you guys?
yeah, Nikki and
Uh,
Ashley,
do
if you guys want to go first.
yeah.
okay, so for me, my experience in the hospital and rehab. So I was in the hospital for about 2 weeks, and then I went to rehab really quickly. I had also broke my sternum right over here, and I broke something in my neck. So you probably see the scar, and I forget what. And so I was like on all these restrictions. I couldn't even really do rehab. It was like actually frustrating at first. And then Ashley was in ICU still, like doing pretty badly, like with I don't know what was going on with her. So it was very stressful, not only like for me, but definitely for our family. And then I think like for me, it was just weird because once I went to rehab, my family kind of was more focused on Ashley because she was doing really bad, like I said. And I was kind of just like there and I would be nervous. But my experience at rehab was good overall. And then when Ashley got there, I felt like the game changed. And was ready to do more things because I was always worried about her. What was your
Yeah.
experience? And then for me, I was in ICU. Oh, what did you say? For like a month and a half, maybe. I don't know. I forget. But then I went to rehab with my sister, and I started realizing like how. Well, I think early on I realized like what was going on with me because I saw my sister going through it, and she came to visit me a few times when I was still in ICU. And then once I got to rehab, was when like I realized one how weak I was. I was like, wow, I really like I was weak before, but I realized, wow, you're really weak now.
Yeah, well,
And it was
that's six
it was
months
hard.
of, or not 6 months, but 6 weeks of being in ICU and, down and out. And, your body focusing so much on recovery and healing. I mean, it's amazing how much it loses because that's kind of how I was
Yeah.
similarly. I was in ICU for like the first like 5 weeks. And like by the time I got out, like I was just skin and bone, like there was no muscle, there was no nothing. It was like it was a long road back.
It was a lot of
To
dizzy.
how about you,
Yeah.
DJ? What was your first few weeks like initially? And
Um, I mean, yeah, from the moment like I was fully conscious when it happened. Like I fell 50 feet out of the air and just remember landing, and I blacked out for like half a second, but I remember just being like, "That's it, I'm done. Like no more racing, no more anything. I'm done. Can't move my legs, can't feel them. They feel warm. Like don't know how to. You can't explain it. You guys know you can't explain it to anyone." And I just knew, like I was prepared. I was like, this is gonna fucking suck. Like, excuse my language, sorry.
You're all good,
that's
But
all.
man.
yeah, I just remember thinking, like, dude, this is gonna suck. This is gonna be a long road, and I'll get through it. So I got to the hospital. They like helivaced me to Norfolk General out in Virginia, and it was definitely pretty emotional the first week because I knew I couldn't ride dirt bikes or do anything like that, surf, anything that I've been doing my whole life. But then, like they said, you just kind of go through it and take it one day at a time, and it's really not that bad. Like once it hits you, you're like, this sucks. I may never walk again, but there's so many more things that I want than just to be able to walk again. Like I'd like to know when I have to pee. Like, I'm used to it already. Like I know kind of when I have to pee. Like I'm pretty sure we all do now. But
That's
there's
cool.
it really does make you appreciate the small stuff in life. Because when it gets taken away, you're like, oh shit, how am I gonna live? And excuse me, and
Yeah,
then you're like, then you get used to it. What was cool about the experiences. I was in the VA in Richmond, which is Veterans Affairs Hospital, and I was with a lot of guys that like it just shows how much people don't want to give up. And it brings out like the best in humanity, like the people that are willing to fight, which is everyone that's going through it. It just shows how strong humans can be, like as far as their will and all that, which is really cool. So
yeah, man, that's really amazing. And you have like a really like impressive like passion and drive for like overcoming this stuff. It's like I love that what you said. Like the little things. Like rediscovering. Like learn how to like feel and pee again. I mean, that was
yeah,
something literally like I didn't learn till like for like 4 or 5 years after my injury. I was like
yeah,
pretty young and adolescent, like
Yeah.
wasn't really sure,
yeah,
like how to listen to all the signals talking to me. But still, it's like something that was like very learned and down the road. But like once I accomplished it, it was like yes, I was so proud. It was like a really cool thing. So I
yeah.
thought that was awesome. Now,
Yeah.
Nikki and
That's
Ashley, I got a question for you. It's like kind of crazy. You both live together, I assume.
Yeah.
Um, and you both Ashley or Quad, you're rocking the Quad life, and Nikki or Para. Um, how has your rehabs been different? I mean, how have they been similar? Like, I mean, I imagine that you know, like just functional, upper body stuff is like probably the biggest difference. But I mean, uh, is it helpful to have someone be there like going through it with you? Like, is it I feel like, can you talk about that a little bit? It's like a very unique experience.
Yeah.
I would say definitely having my sister there what made rehab and made the whole entire experience a lot easier than it would have been if I was just going through it by myself. Because I think the experience gets better when you have other people in the community to talk to that get it. Because
Absolutely.
able-bodieds don't. They just don't.
Yeah.
I think for me, the experience, because like PT and OT looked a lot different for us, for sure. And I like was discharged from OT pretty quickly, where Ashley like was still in it. So it was kind of interesting to see stuff and then like learn that, oh, because she can't do this, she might not never be able to do this, or just realizing how different, just because our levels, how different our injuries were. To me, that was crazy. I was like, wow, like the fact that I broke somewhere lower in my back and she didn't. I don't know, that's just crazy to me. The body's weird. And
Yeah.
it was interesting to see though, and then I think both of our experiences were different, but also like we helped each other a lot. Like we there was a part in therapy where like I would see like I was like learning how to like TMI but like half myself, and at the same time, you know, as I'm learning, I'm like I could do that on Ashley. So like I was like in the hospital like on the bed, they're like don't do that, you're gonna hurt yourself, and I was like but she's gonna need this. You know.
See, that's really cool that you guys have had each other for that kind of support and help. And but yeah, that really shows you how different the rehab process is for, you know, different levels of injury for all of us. And I mean, but one of the things I think we're wanting to ask too is like that support system. So like when you guys are able to lean on each other and stuff. Like for DJ, have you had a good support system in your family and
Oh
stuff,
God,
friends and
yeah.
everything? So
Yeah. I mean, I can't even. Yeah, like the amount of things I've thought that I didn't need that my girlfriend's family or my family or my whoever it was would, you know, they got me one of those shower heads that detaches, you know, and it's like you can handle it with your hand. I never would have thought about that. I'm a guy.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I took 3-minute showers. Yeah, I just sat in the shower, got clean, got my business done. You know, when I was able-bodied. Now it's like you can't do that. Like there's no way. You got to get underneath stuff, and it's not cool. So I got that. They got me an Alexa system, which I never knew I wanted until I have it, and now I'm like, I won't ever live without that. There's no way. I have automatic locks on my doors, so like they're the August locks, so you can just say like, Alexa, unlock the front door, and she's gonna respond right now. She didn't respond. Never mind. There she goes. Stop. But anyways, like that, I have the Ring systems. I have an Apple Watch, which has really helped me with like if I don't want to roll to get my phone, I can just voice to text and change it to, you know, text on my wrist, which is so convenient because I have carpet in this apartment, unfortunately, and the fact of the matter is I don't want to blow my shoulders out too quickly. I'm 27, so I
Smart
prefer to.
move.
Yeah.
yeah, good to say.
Yeah. I mean, to answer your question, long story short, yeah, I couldn't. I don't think I could have gotten through this. Or I think I could have, but it would have been a lot harder to get through.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How about like you and Nikki and Ashley? How about you guys? I mean, other than each other, you know, which is probably your best support. Have you guys like had, you know, good family support, you know, around you to help out with this crazy transition?
Like yes and no. At first there's a lot of people there, but then slowly everyone leaves. Now it's just like me, our friend, probably our cousin, and our dad. Like 4 people, but like it works.
Yep.
It's like we have so yes and no. Yes and no. I think for us though, it's that like we definitely had a lot of support in like terms of like people raising money, I guess, for us, or like getting things done for us for free, which was kind of nice. Like just knowing networking and knowing a lot of people. Chicago has a lot of different talents, so we were able to get like things fixed. Like DJ had talked about, we were able to get our bathroom fixed because a church here in Chicago did it. We were able to what else? Like yeah, just like get a car because our uncle's company did a campaign for us to get a car. Like certain things that like wouldn't have happened as quickly if it was
Yeah,
just us having to do it for sure. But in terms of like
absolutely.
going
I
through,
mean, one of the things that we talked about before is like, 6 months, a year in, that's kind of like just when the battle is just beginning, like, or
Yeah,
the
it's
first
easy.
battle over and the war is just starting, and like recovery and rehab and learning and adapting and modifying. I mean, because it doesn't really ever stop. And yeah, I mean, initially that's kind of how it was for me. Um, the first few months, we had a ton of community support. There's lots of fundraisers, a lot of support from my family and my parents, who had like two other kids and younger than me, and who were working full time jobs and stuff and trying to figure it out. But a few months down the road, like everyone else has lives and things and stuff and can't dedicate as much time or whatever it is. And then it was a crew. It was me and my mom and my brother and sisters. We were just rocking it, making it work. Like you do, right? You just do it. You just make it work. But I did want to touch back on what you were talking about for a second, DJ. Technology, I love it. I'm the biggest
Yeah.
fan of technology to help make like living the crypt life easier. And
Yeah.
like the smart watches and like the voice recognition technology, I talk about all the time, especially if you're aspiring or moving towards independence, which a lot of newly individuals, people are. That's like the big goal is how can I get towards being as independent as possible? And tools like that make it possible. A big fear is, being, missing a transfer, nobody being around, right? What do you do if you don't have a phone close by? But when you can just talk to your phone or talk to your watch and call, someone who, a neighbor or 911, need be, um, that is a reality now, which 10, 15 years ago wasn't for, a lot of
Yeah.
people, which is very cool. So, any newly injured people out there who maybe find themselves struggling along, look towards, technology and some tools because there's some really impressive stuff out there. The only problem is, kind of what Nikki and Ashley said, everything's too freaking expensive. It's
yeah,
very out of reach. I mean, it really is. Like, I can't afford half the shit that I, could use to make my life like easier on a day-to-day basis, just because it's thousands and thousands of dollars, and I'm on limited income. But fundraising and grants and things like that are available too, which are really great. But that's something that I'm always kind of keeping an eye on, looking for is cool technology that's affordable, cool companies that are making things that are affordable for
Yeah.
individual chairs. And Sean, what other questions do you want to toss to our amazing guests? Because I know we have a few lined up.
Um, well, one of the things I was going to talk about too was just how like COVID has affected everything. Like for DJ, his entire injury has been in COVID, and then for Nikki and Ashley, I mean, you guys are kind of like probably just still in rehab, like and kind of like getting into like your you're all like figuring things out, and then you got hit with the COVID. So like, how has that changed everything for you guys? Like, how has the isolation changed? And like, how have you still been able to get any rehab? Um, at all, Nikki and Ashley, have you guys been able to get any more rehab, or are you guys what are you guys' system like now? Or
I was actually going to I had just like, so we were in 2019. We were going to rehab. We had got discharged in October, and then January I put it into the doctor, whatever you have to do, to go back. And I just started going. When did I start going? Like right at the end last week of February, and then 3 weeks in, COVID.
Yeah.
And I had made the decision to like not go anymore because I was low key scared when COVID first, like really scared when COVID first happened. So I was like, no, like whatever, I don't want to go. They kept calling. I was like, no, let's postpone my therapy, postpone it to next time. I think we moved it to June, and then June was still scary. But while we're at home, I've been doing things at home. Like I was able to get a standing frame because I was able to kind of use the excuse that I can't go to therapy. So my doctor was able to get that. So that COVID benefited in that sense, but I do wish I could go back to therapy, but it's scary. Like I'd rather not put myself at risk like that because we've been really safe and really good. What about for you?
Oh, go ahead, Ashley. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
For me, I so just like we got injured March 2019, going to rehab. I got discharged in November. And I was actually still in the process of getting my doctor to approve me going back to therapy, and then COVID hit. So I was like, okay, well, that was fun. So
So
it's
you
been, yeah. And Ashley's not the one to push herself, like, to, like, work out.
I push myself.
No, you don't. And so it's been, like, I've been trying to hold her accountable, but yeah, because I don't like work. She doesn't like
I
working
need
out.
therapy. I need to be at like a gym, and then I'll work.
Yeah,
From
it's a
home, I can't do
scary
it.
it's a scary thing though as a quad though, especially in the COVID stuff,
Yeah.
you know, like having the limited like respiratory. Because I mean, you really feel it sometimes, like laying down, like trying to cough and stuff. Like I mean, like I know Sean like can like super relate probably, but that's scary, and I don't know, like all I could think about too, because like I had just started to get back into like. You know, I just had a doctor, you know, write me a prescription for PT and stuff. Got to go back into it, like do some MRIs, like you know, kind of like judge where my body's at, you know, before with the rehab. And I got scared and freaked out too, and I like put it all on pause, and I haven't like gone back to it yet or called him to make the appointments. But I'm trying to get the vaccine, and that's kind of my goal. Is if I can get the vaccine in the next couple of weeks, I want to have like the appointments lined up and you know start moving forward with it again because life doesn't stop, for sure. But how about you, DJ? How's it affected you, man?
There's like two parts of that question, really. The first part in the hospital, yeah, I mean, I was doomed. Nobody could visit. I couldn't have any family. Nothing. It was rough. Like, I like to think of myself as a pretty mentally tough person. But yeah, that just hammered my motivation. I just kept getting letters. Huh?
They didn't let one person visit you?
No, nobody. Um, Now, my girlfriend was able to visit the first week for like 2 or 3 hours a day, just for the first week. But after that, I was still there for like two and a half months. I don't really know how long I was in rehab, but it was long enough to, just drive you insane. And, they wouldn't let you leave the SCI unit. So like I couldn't go outside the unit on my own. And I'm a T8, T9. I have 90% of my diaphragm function. Like I can still cough, but I can
Yeah.
feel that my diaphragm is not as strong as it used to be. So I could imagine like COVID would hit me pretty hard, but not as hard as maybe a quad. But I just was like so mad. I was like, screw you guys. I want to at least leave the unit so I can go to like the in hospital store by myself. But it was rough. It was very rough. But on the rehab side, I'm not trying to flex on you guys, but the VA takes incredible care of SCI patients. I'm not even like people complain about the VA all they want. There's no question. They handled everything for me. I didn't have any medical bills, no co-payments, nothing, no deductibles, nothing. And then on top of that, they like I said, I'm not flexing, but they gave me an RTI bike. Like they're basically doing like a rental program, making sure that I'm using it for the first 3 months, and then after that they pay for it. And then I got a standing frame as well. So that RTI bike is really cool though. That's
Yeah.
I've been using it every day.
Flex
is
away,
that one of the
man. Like,
bikes that like
Yeah.
that you get your legs in and it like runs, it basically just moves your legs for you, stimulates.
Yeah,
Like,
it uses
those are cool.
EMS,
Those are
like electromuscular stimulation, kind of like a
Yeah, I
TENS,
think
not a
he's-
TENS unit, but it's this similar concept where you put adhesive electrodes on you, and it gets your muscles moving again. In the standing frame, obviously, everyone knows that's great for
Yeah.
any quad or paraplegic. But if I use that and then the RTI bike, those are not cheap. I got very lucky. That
yeah,
thing is
the
awesome.
RTIs are like out of reach for most people, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I do know that you can a lot of times get an easy glider, which is like a standing frame that
Yeah.
has also like functional movement in the leg part, so you can like get standing and then like walk your legs.
Mhm.
I got one through my insurance, and like it was through PTOT. You know, like they like talk to my doctors and get, prescriptions and stuff. But that is something that can sometimes be approved through the insurance if you are willing to pursue it. But it can be
Yeah.
one of the best
Cool.
things for you, especially if you're newly injured and you can get in the habit, because weight bearing is what helps keep you healthy and help keep you good, like
Yeah.
your bones, the osteoporosis and stuff, which can, get a lot of us, down the road, like at 5-10 years, of like no weight bearing.
Yeah.
It just can make your bones brittle, and we can make your body a little bit more sensitive. But doing that weight bearing and standing, even if it's, once or twice a week, can really help, limit your spasticity, improve your circulation, and, like help, stretch your muscles, and just lots of good stuff for your body. Yeah.
Like I can imagine bowel and bladder just because gravity takes hold a little bit more.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
absolutely.
yeah.
It's amazing sometimes the, residual effects, things like that can have. Like I always say, my favorite thing about exercising and working out is like I just have less spasms for like the next 6 hours afterwards, because
Yeah.
whatever that energy was, like my body gets a lot of it out.
Yeah.
But so this is kind of a tougher topic, but something I do want to like talk to you guys about. Like I said, just share whatever you want to share. But I do want to talk to you about some of your struggles that you've been having the last, in your case, DJ, 4.5 months. Ashley, Nikki, a year or so. What are some of the struggles you've had? What are some of the struggles you guys are having? And what are you doing to figure it all out? And DJ, why don't you start, since we started with ladies last time?
Okay. I was gonna use that time to think. It's been
But you have
nice
time.
one second.
If you want to
Think.
pass it along, that's okay too.
No, it's okay. I'll be a gentleman. Really, like the biggest thing for me was 100% like the mental hurdle of, like there's a well over 99% chance we'll never even walk again. You always hope for medical advancements and all that. At least my spinal cord isn't severed. That's a good thing. But you have to like wrap your head around like this is a real thing. And that took a lot of time for me, just because I was like, there's no way. I've crashed so many times on a dirt bike, so many times doing whatever. I mean, I'm jumping off curbs now in my wheelchair. Like, I thought I was indestructible. Like, seriously, I'm a stocky guy normally. So, like, I didn't think my bones, I hardly ever break bones. So I was like, there's no way I'll break my spine of all things. Like, there's no way. And it took me a lot to wrap my head around, like, this is real. Like, I may never walk again. And that's, I'm sure everyone of us sees that. But it really is, like, I think the coolest part about it was that, like, I just saw that it's not that big of a deal. Like, sitting in a chair all the time is actually, kind of cool. The only things that sucks is like like you said, the secondary side effects, like it being harder to go to the bathroom, or it being, osteoporosis because of your bone density thinning out and all that, like the stupid stuff that you're like, damn it. Like, I wish if that weren't accompanying this, like if I just could not walk, this would honestly not suck that bad.
Yeah, no, that's what I say all the time. It's like, if I could just get my bladder and bowel back, like I wouldn't even like ever complain about this. Like I would be like, no, like I could work the rest out, no problem.
Yeah. But and that's one last thing I want to add to is thank God that obviously you guys have been injured for a little bit longer, but thank God that none of us got injured in like the 60s, or whatever case may have you, because like the fact of the matter is they are doing a lot with medical research, and that's like, I call it being cautiously optimistic. I've already dubbed that term for myself. Just being like, don't get your hopes up, but just always, that it gives you a reason to keep fighting, and especially for your family and all that. My girlfriend actually goes to VCU in Richmond, Virginia, for biomedical engineering. And she's probably going to do cell therapy or biomechanics, which has to do with, movement and all that. And her degree is literally like, it couldn't have worked out any better. If I could, and I'm a mechanical engineering student, so it was kind of meant to be.
Oh, it's crazy, and that is like what I was talking about earlier with technology. Is we're so lucky to be alive during this time. And like we do talk about it. It's important, I think, to like what you said, DJ. Accept your reality. It is what it
Yeah.
is. We are not indestructible. Individuals. We do have to take care and caution, and realize we're human and we're mortal. But it is something amazing. It's something like pay attention to and track now because technology and medical advancements are coming so quickly.
Yeah.
It's good to accept your injury and like live in the moment and to live for now and to not
Yeah.
always live for walking again. But
Yeah.
we are living in a time that who the heck knows in 10 years what kind of nerve stimulation and spinal cord stimulators that will be and
Yeah.
what they'll be able to achieve, which is amazing. And just kind of what we said, maybe we're not going to be walking again, but getting like sensation or like controlled bladder malfunction or
Yeah.
like
Maybe it'll
sexual
improve.
function, some of those things, just tackling some of the side effects of the spinal cord injury, I think would be amazing and be transformative for a lot of people. Okay,
100.
Nikki and Ashley, I hope you guys had a minute to think because we're tossing the same question your way.
Okay, you go first. You want me to go first? So for me, when I first got injured, it definitely was really hard when I first got injured to like even picture like why out of there was 5 of us in the car that when the car accident happened, and I was like, out of the 5 people, why is it the 2 twin sisters that got injured? I just thought that was crazy, and then it was sad because I love to write, and I was like, fingers don't work because I'm the quad, so it was like, wow, I can't do that anymore. My what is it? Diaphragm, right? Yeah. My diaphragm was affected, so like I could tell even still to this day that like I love to sing. So when I sing, I don't have great breath support. Even when I'm talking, I get more winded easier now. And that was like a lot for me personally to be like, wow, I'm like probably like those things are probably never gonna be the same. Like for me, I don't really write that often anymore. Or if I do, it's on my phone or using technology. But I would say definitely then when COVID happened to make a negative a positive. I definitely started doing more things that I love to do. I started reading more, I started writing more, and started advocating for the disability community more and educating on disability rights. And it really just, I don't know, it just made me have something to like to fight for, give me a purpose a little bit because that was something that I was really struggling with.
Good for you.
For you? I think for me, like it was the mental process, right? That was a question. Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. For me, I think honestly, I feel like always like a jerk when I say this out loud, but I'll say it. I never really understood mental health before my accident at all. I would kind of like mock it or joke about it.
Same.
And then when, yeah, right?
Yeah.
I just never got it. I don't know why. And when I got injured, I think I pushed a lot of my emotions at first. Like, I pushed them away a lot because I was just like, no, like, I'm okay. Like whatever. It's just one thing. Which I think part of me feels like that mentality was good. And then another part is like, there's a little negative. You should have let yourself feel those emotions at first. But then, like, later on, I allowed myself to feel the emotions and, like, being able to talk to Ashley, like, as much as it sucks, like she said, that us two were the ones hurt. Like, it was nice to have her to talk to. And it was also kind of humbling to watch her, like, being a para and, like, having full hand function and stuff. And then watching my sister who, like, I can say I'll never get my independence back. But at the end of the day, to watch someone who, like, it's, like, less able to happen kind of makes me like, you know what, at least you get some of it back more. So I don't know, it's just like a weird process. And I think for me too, like grieving myself has been a process, like grieving who I was before, because things are definitely different. And sorry, your dad's yelling in the back.
No problem.
No worries.
Definitely different. And yeah, I don't know, it's been a process. And then it was hard watching you go through it. That didn't help the mental state. Yeah, to watch each other. To watch my like best friend go through it. I was like, well, like I'm going through this, and then I look over there and she is too. It was sad.
I'm not gonna cry, so I'm gonna leave it at that.
Emotional.
Yeah, that's the other side of it. You guys have each other for support, but also it's hard to watch each other struggle and stuff. You know, you're watching somebody you love.
Yeah, it was hard.
Yeah.
We definitely have a
no,
5 minute rule.
We
5
did-
minutes.
We did
Wait,
create
what is
that
it?
early on.
5 minutes. To
Boo
be
hoo.
mad.
5
Move
minutes.
on.
Boo-hoo, move on.
I like it. Yeah, no, like that. Setting a time limit for yourself is like I think a really like cool, like amazing technique. Like I'm gonna let myself like freak out for 10 minutes, and then I gotta collect myself and like get it together and like handle it. But sometimes like
Especially about the things you
recognizing,
can't control.
well, recognizing that you need to freak out for 10 minutes, and that's okay. It's not a bad thing. Like that, I think is like fine to do, but like then understanding like you got to take control again. That's the other part of it that some of us miss. I think it's really impressive. Both of your guys' stories. Like what you're going through. It's definitely like a very unique thing. Um, the crip life is not easy. Like understanding and realizing, like what you lost. I mean, it's scary. For me, I was a child, so I discovered, a lot of my passions already having my disability. But I've talked to many who have, been injured later in life and lost, or thought they lost their passion. I mean, we have a good friend who had on the show a few weeks ago, Toby. Who's an actor and who's a singer and who's in a band and performs, and that's what he said. He thought he can never sing or perform at the level he did before. But after 5 or 6 years of working on it and practicing and you building up those muscles, you could go and do a show and perform for an hour and be able to still belt it out like you did before, which is amazing and cool. So I think also learning that you are again like capable, but not always in the same way. I mean, learning how to write again is such a bitch. It's so freaking hard. Like with the quad heads and stuff. Like I know someone like one of my a good friend of mine who is a C5 quad is taking the LSAT, and he was getting all these accommodations, but it was going to be really difficult with the timing to not use a pen and write. He hadn't written in a decade because he didn't think he could with quad hands. And he ordered some big fat pens, and he asked me and he asked my girlfriends who was also the C5 C6 quad to show him how we do it. And he practiced for a month and a half, and here he is doing it. And he's not writing paragraphs or essays, but he's able to circle words and like connect like lines on a diagram and stuff, which is enough to allow him to function without the accommodations and things like that. So, one thing that I do like to say is, even if you can't do something the same way you did before, if it seems like a passion loss, it may not always be a passion loss. It's just something you have to, learn and rediscover in a different way. And, that rediscovery process can be hard though, especially if you've lived your whole life doing something one way, because your first tendency is to want to go back and do it the way you did it before, right? But that's not always possible, not always easy. And yeah, that journey back can be kind of crazy.
It's like a weird transition, for sure. Like I
Yeah.
still have moments to this day where I look down and I'm like, I can't believe I'm sitting in this chair. Like I feel normal, but nothing's the same.
I hate to break it to you, but that feeling doesn't really ever go away because 24 years later, some days I'm still waking up looking at my legs like, damn, like, isn't she
Well, that's good to
really
know.
like,
That's good to know. Because I feel like I'm tweaking sometimes.
No, that's a
Yeah.
pretty normal feeling. Just you just get so used to your body and your life, like you don't even you don't think about it, and then when you do think about it, it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the first time, like, because, and again, not to, I feel bad. Like Nikki said, like, you almost feel bad because you go, like, I was at the hospital, and this is a short story, but we had a nurse there who was like, she was terrible in my opinion, but whatever. I won't speak any names. She was kind of lazy, and so she was put on LLD because she hurt herself. But anyways, so she couldn't do a lot as far as nursing, and then she got me and a guy who could walk, but kind of goofy. She got a couple of patients that they call the higher functioning patients, but I didn't know that. I was like, well, why? If you're limited light duty, why are you helping me? Like, what do you have me as a patient? She's like, well, I can help the more high functioning patients, and I had an epiphany. I was like, wow, that is weird to think that I can't walk, and then someone who can stand up, but they can't really do a whole lot with their dexterity and all that, they're considered less high functioning. So it's really like you can't compare yourself to other people because it will eat you alive, I've noticed. But it is really like it's humbling in a sense, at least for me. And then also it's allowed me to like when I get, I can get in and out of my chair like super easy. Like it takes me 5 seconds I'll get on the floor, another 15 to get back into it. And
Nice.
that is good in a way, but it's also like one of those things where like I'll jump off curbs now in a wheelchair just because I want to, and then I fall out and I'm hurting my knees and stuff, which I shouldn't do, but I don't know. But my point is like it's just one of those things. I still feel like my old self, like which was only 4 or 5 months ago, and I sat on the floor when I came home to I have a new apartment now that's ADA accessible. And I sat on the floor on my butt and I was just like, this feels so normal. Like I was sitting like Indian style, cross-legged.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, like I just feel normal. Like I just feel like I could just, all right, I'm done. Let me get up real quick. You like used to untwist your legs and just like twist up. Nope. Crazy.
Yeah, that part's not normal, but just the feeling like you're just getting comfortable with yourself. And that's good that you're already feeling some of that, like, 4 or 5 months into your injury, because it takes some people longer, like honestly, like I think that acceptance in your mind really helps you to get to that point where you're feeling comfortable sitting on the floor and you don't even realize for a second that you're disabled. Like
Yeah.
you don't even,
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do my first independent transfer until 15 years after my initial injury, so it's not too late to learn, that's for sure.
Yeah. I
It's
just
pretty
figured it
amazing.
out.
Yeah, I mean, it's lucky in a sense, like you said. Every spinal cord injury is different. I mean, I had a mom and a dad, like a brother and a sister, that helped me like all the time whenever I needed it for like a long time. And it's not that like I just never like thought about it too much until I was like, like I'm not gonna have them around forever. Like I want to move out and like live my life eventually, right? So I was like, I'm gonna have to figure out how to do it on my own. So I just didn't think about it, but like very early on, which is, how it's supposed to be, like in rehab, like you were presented with that, like, hey, what are you going to do if you're on the ground and you need to get up in your chair, well, let's see, do you have the muscles, and are you able to figure it out? And some people, like the way Sean transfers, it trips me out. It's the craziest. I call him super quad because like it scares the crap out of me, but it looks so cool how he does it. But like I look at something like that, and if I had started transferring maybe like when I first got injured, like Sean did, or closer to my initial injury, I think maybe my transfer would be different. But it's super cool that you're learning that stuff right now, right away. How about you guys, Nikki and Ashley? Like, what is that like, the transferring and stuff? Like, do you guys like use Hoyer lifts? Like, are you independently transferring, Ashley or Nikki?
So I don't independently transfer. I mean, for the most part, because I would say I'm pretty strong for my level of injury. Because early
Sure.
on, I definitely
Not to
transferred.
brag.
Yeah, not to brag or anything. One of my goals was I do want to eventually want to like transfer at least mostly on my own, or maybe someone just there to make sure I don't fall. But like early on, me and Nikki, even in rehab, were having our therapists teach us how for her to transfer me, because we didn't have like that complete like home support. And so I would say for the most part I can basically
because I don't do anything when she's transferring.
Yeah, like when
I only basically situate her legs.
Yeah, because she has to make sure she doesn't hurt herself.
Yeah, because one last thing I tell her I'm gonna do is hurt myself again. And so she does everything except I do her leg, and then I'll help her like push up if she needs like that And then I can transfer basically on my own. I use a slide board because I'm still a chicken. I know I can do it on my own because I have when I forgot it. But I'm just a chicken. I'm a baby.
Yeah, and then for me, there's certain like in the hospital bed, I can transfer pretty much. Mostly
That's
on my
good.
own. Most days, depending on the day. Like on the couch, I need help.
The couch
You
is
know, in the
hard.
car, I need help. Yeah, so kind of like depends. But as long as I
You're definitely
transfer on
not a
my bed
chicken,
and
Vicky.
get ready for the day, I'd be good.
You're definitely not a chicken because, like, just gotta use the tools that are gonna like make it safe and make it easy. Like because that was always like, one of my biggest fears was taking a dive while I'm transferring, right? Like falling on the floor or something, and nobody being here. And I mean, still that kind of scares me sometimes because I do some pretty risky transfers at times. But that was like how I started was with a sliding board, and it was like the first like 2 or 3 years. Like I never did a transfer without a sliding board because like I just didn't feel safe enough. But then I like was wilding out one day and just decided screw it. Like I left the sliding board behind and just started to do it without, and I kind of never went back. But it's still something that I was sitting, like 2 feet away from my bed just in case. I just love that you guys are able to help each other out and stuff like that. I think it's so amazing, and like you said, there's no better support than someone who's like going through it, too, which
Uh-huh.
is so yeah, you guys, you guys are the best. I have a amazing and beautiful girlfriend who is also a C5C6 quad, and we help each other a lot too, because that's what you do. When you're partners with someone, right? You help each other out. But I've found that learning, watching someone how with like this similar disability, you learn so much, and you learn how you can move differently or how you can try to do different things and stuff. And that was something I got a feel for. Getting involved in the disabled community like 4 or 5 years ago. But like seeing someone in your life who is living with this disability and stuff, like it's amazing. What you learn constantly. Getting that different outside perspective. Of like watching it rather than being the person who's always getting helped, or it's different than the person who's helping. Sometimes learning how your own body works. I think it's really cool, awesome stuff.
You definitely have to relearn, like, basically relearn your entire body again.
Your body functions.
Yeah, like I know I transfer better going to my left than I do to my right. I don't know why, but I do.
It's probably because it's your strong side. I'm a lefty, and like,
Right?
I can like only really like my right arm is like my anchor arm. Like I push with my right arm, but like my real dominant arm is my left arm, and I can really only transfer super strongly out of the left side of my chair for whatever reason. So that might be
See,
it.
I'm even the same way. Like I can transfer out of my chair to my right a lot stronger than I can to my left, but I actually make it a point to transfer both ways. So I have my couch that I sit in usually, like when I'm hanging out at home. It's a love seat, so it has two sides. So I switch sides every time I sit down. If I sat on the left, I sit on the right the next time. If I sat on the right, I sit on the left the next time. So that I'm constantly doing the opposite transfer. And I never like, lose the skills going one direction. Because I did that for like 6 months where I only did one side. And then when I tried eating the other side, it was really hard. So like that's something I do to help keep my body trained and just able to ready for anything.
Gotta stay balanced because like I got pretty out of balance like initially because I was like so left arm dominant my whole life. Like I just learned to do a lot of stuff with my left side. Like I left my right hand to kind of just flop around and be there. But like my right hand is pretty non-functional. Like in terms of like tenodesis and stuff, like I can only like grip things, like pretty light, pretty weakly with my right hand, just because I didn't do that balance stuff very much early on. So it's something to think about like in your rehab because like I really tended towards my like more dominant side.
So I have another question for you guys too. So with COVID and not really being able to do a lot of rehab and stuff, what are some of the resources? I mean, obviously, learning from each other, but what are the resources like that you guys have found to learn from, like people like that you stuff you're watching, people you're learning from. anything
Shout out
like
Live to Roll, best
Yeah,
research
let's
out there.
that. Right on. Well, yeah. So besides watching some live to roll videos and stuff, what other stuff have you guys found? Have you found any other? Have you been able to reach out to other people? In social media and stuff, like other with injuries for advice and stuff, or anything like that. Just any resources that other people might be able to draw from, even.
Well, there's actually I hope I get his name right. Adapt to Perform, is that his name on
Adapt to
YouTube?
perform. Yep.
He does
Yeah. A
workouts.
YouTube channel too.
I need to be more consistent, but amazing channel.
Yeah. No, he has a good workout channel too. Yeah. He's like
Yeah,
that is a cool
I
channel.
like it. So he's a
I
good
know
channel.
Bobby actually does those too. I know he's not here today. He was a little busy, but Bobby usually does adapt to perform. Like he did like the 30-day challenge with him and stuff. So yeah, that's a cool one. Any other ones? What about you, DJ? Have you found any resources on here, online, or anywhere?
Yeah. I don't really like as far as working out goes. Like I learned everything I needed in PT. I feel like, and then OT stuff. Like I like a challenge, so I just like the other day it was raining here, and then my girlfriend's house. So like they have a ramp going up now, which they got like, just for me, and I was like, I don't want you guys to have to stand out in the rain. Let me just go in through the garage. I'll get off my chair and like bump up. I was like, I think I can do that. I've heard of people doing it, so I'll figure it out. I'll figure out how to get inside. Like I'll worm my way inside.
It's a
Like
good
it would have made
attitude.
a funny video, but I made it inside. It only took me like 2 minutes, but it looked goofy when I got inside because their hallway is super skinny. So as soon as I got in there, I was like, excuse my language, but I was like, oh God, what am I gonna do? Like
It's okay
now
to
I'm
swear, DJ.
now
You're
I'm
a
at
good
a
man,
T
man.
intersection. I had to like roll on my. It was comical. Like I really should go around with a GoPro on because, like I said, I fell out of the chair today and the other day just doing wheelies off of like curbs and stuff. But honestly, what has helped me is just kind of there's actually a professional like ex motocross rider. His name's Jesse Nelson. I was telling you guys about him earlier before the girls got on. And he's from Southern California. You guys still there?
Yeah, he just
Yeah, the thing changed.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
from
you're good.
my area of California. And he has like a little higher level injury, I think like T5, T4, T5. But I actually just like I follow him on Instagram, and it's really cool to like see his just like how the way he lives his life. He still does like a lot of the same stuff. He races like UTVs now, like side by sides. I don't know if like a Polaris, like the caged
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those
some
are.
people
I would love to
are.
get something like that going. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a ex-pro motocross rider, so he's super fast. So he's loves to go fast, and he's just kind of like a I guess low key inspiration. Just seeing he has obviously like he made money or made some motocross. He was a very good rider, but it's just cool to see like his life still went on, and he has a bunch of documentaries you can watch, and it's just really cool. I think when I was because I've only been injured a little bit under 5 months, and I think a big part of the whole injury for me was kind of seeing a lot of those documentaries on a lot of like action sports athletes and just seeing how they got through it, and it just helped me get through it. A lot of it was less about working out, like you said, but it's more psychological and like the mental battle
Yeah.
rather than PT. Like I know I got away from PT a little bit, but that was what I struggle with for sure.
No, the
Yeah,
mental
you know,
battle is usually the toughest struggle. Like that's
Yeah,
once you get over that hurdle, the physical part is a lot easier to overcome. So
yeah,
that's yeah.
and just what you said, DJ, like seeing positive examples of people who have recovered and like rediscovered their passions, like just found their life again and stuff. Seeing those like people, who have more serious injuries than my injury, doing crazier stuff, living more fulfilling lives than I do. Like, those examples like really inspire me to keep pushing and to, keep trying to do new, different stuff and push myself to never stop,
yeah,
never stop moving. because really there is no limit. That's what I found, for anybody. I mean, like once I heard, a story about a ventilated quad getting on a jet ski and, like open, ocean and stuff, like crazy stuff like that. I'm like, there is just nothing that's not possible anymore,
Yeah.
like if you want to figure it out, if it's your passion, if, you have the drive and you're inspired enough to pursue it, like anything I think is within the realm of possibilities with technology and, with what we have, at our fingertips today. So I think that's really impressive, man. And you're a really great example of someone who has an incredible attitude and is really, inspiring. To see someone kind of grab the bull by the horns from the start, like just
Yeah.
tackle it. And, I hope others out there can, see you as an example too, and get some inspiration because it's really amazing, man. Really cool stuff.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to have DJ on and Nikki and Ashley. I mean, you guys are doing like you just have such a unique story, and you're doing really great. I mean, for like you're not even 2 years in either, and you're already doing all kinds of stuff. Like even for I honestly, Ashley, I it took me I think it took me more than 2 years to transfer myself. So I honestly wasted like we were talking about. I wasted like a good year or more after rehab. Like I got home from rehab and just was like like whatever. Like I didn't really do much. I just kind of sat around. Honestly, I just sat around getting high with my brothers. All I just smoked a ton of weed and watched us
Love
like
it.
but literally did nothing to physically better myself.
That's
So
awesome.
so that was my first year of being home. Which like was fun, I guess, but like I could have done a little bit of working out and some rehab as well, which would have been helpful.
I need
That's
So
to.
awesome.
that's always my advice for people is just to like just to those first couple years are really important. So like if you can start moving along that in those early years, like it's super helpful and beneficial for your overall life. So,
Yes, all three of you guys, are leagues and bounds beyond where so many others I've met, have been,
yeah,
at this point in their recovery and their injuries. So you guys are, all like incredible, amazing examples of, how to do it right. Like stay strong. I don't think there is a right way to do it, but, you guys have done it, really, really impressively. And
yeah,
so thanks for sharing your experience with all of it. It's something that we talk about like all the time is it's an endless struggle. It's not something that's going to stop, 6 months or a year. I mean, I'm still learning things, 24 years later. Sometimes it's like every day. Sometimes I feel like I'm picking up something new or, like just having to overcome new things that, pop up in my life that, I didn't realize I have to learn how to tackle. But being able to learn, how to have that positive attitude and, how to learn and how to problem solve, those are the really essential skills, I think, essential spinal cord injury survival skills, I like to call them. And you guys are, really giving down early on, I think, which is so awesome. So thanks for being a part of it, sharing all that you do. And Nikki and Ashley, like blasting out so much on social media all the time, representing,
yep,
the spinal cord injury community and, the, the people out there. I think it's so awesome and very inspiring too, because it's something
Mine.
that I've had like a hard time is like sharing my voice for a long time, but something I've been trying to do recently, which I think is awesome. But you guys are like an amazing example of that, so keep it up. And thanks
Yeah.
for always
Thank you
representing
for doing that.
the
Because
being
I
positive.
I don't know if I could like still. I mean, eventually I will, but I commend you for that because that's the biggest hurdle for me is like I don't want to share my story with anyone that I know personally. It's tough, they know me for who I was, so
But
I can't just change.
that part's
Yeah,
hard
the
initially.
courage, it's like takes like incredible amount of bravery to talk about the most intimate personal stuff in your life and share it so that other people can maybe gain something from it or just share your experience. But the bravery and the courage that takes is something that not a lot of people have. So the fact that you both are willing to take that on and have that strength to do it is, like I said, pretty cool. Really, really
yeah,
amazing.
it's
That's
cool.
awesome. Yeah.
Oh, thank
Thank
you.
you.
You made me cry.
And also, and to shout out real quick too, Nikki and Ashley, they're busy on these podcast things. They just did one, and tomorrow they're on a friend of our show, Tammy Resilient Quad. She's has her own YouTube. She just started, and she's doing like Resilient Women Wednesdays. And
And she's
tomorrow,
always representing the
Nick,
lady quads out there.
and she's
So shout
always
out.
representing. So,
She's awesome.
yeah.
She's
So
our friend, guys.
tomorrow, if you guys want to check that out, they will be on another show on Resilient Wednesday with Tammy. So, yeah,
And
just
I
want to
kind
shout
of
that out too.
got away from the chat for a little bit. Do we have any questions or anything, or anything that
Oh,
we
there was
wanted
one
to
question
or-
just earlier, asking if DJ uses a smart drive, um, from Mickey. But yeah,
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if he or she's still on here. Yeah, the VA got me one of those too. Those are also not cheap. I got lucky with that. I've only used it a couple times. It's really heavy. It really works like really well. Like it turns my chair into a complete automatic like chair, and it can go up to like 7 miles an hour. It can boogie. It could go
Yeah.
pretty, which like when you're that low to the ground, 7 miles an hour feels like 20.
Yeah.
Especially like indoors. I remember in the hospital, I was pissing so many people off. I'd be like holding the corner of the walls like to turn. Dude, I was
Oh.
moving. I almost
Hey,
knocked so many people
that's
over.
advanced skills, dude. Nice work. It's
Yeah.
like that's what a lot of people do. Like I do that around turns. I grab the inside corner,
Yeah.
like tuck the turn a little tighter.
Well, dude, you probably weren't following me on Instagram at that point, but I did one of those videos, the dude skateboarding down
I did
that
see
hill.
that. I did see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did that same video, but like with
The
the
ocean-
song. I don't remember the name of that song, but the same thing where I was just using the chair. Oh, dude, so many of my friends were dying. It was so funny.
Respect.
Yeah.
A little
that
bit
is
more
awesome.
information about the
Yeah,
smart drive. They are insurance approved. They did get like federal approval by medical regulation and stuff. So they are things you can get through the insurance if you're a low level quad and you don't want a power chair. Because I know it's not for everybody, or even the higher level parents too. A lot of times can find it easier. But even if it's something you take to the beach when you just know you're gonna be cruising like 10 miles and you don't want to, like you said, kill your shoulders or mess up your night, because you still want to be able to chill and be comfy. That's when those things can be super helpful. Because I love to rock the manual chair, but if I'm gonna kill myself and be dead at the end of the day, I'll take the power, no doubt, because I want to feel good, and still be able to enjoy myself.
Well, I'll start using it more 'cause I'm a college student at ODU here in Virginia, so
Yeah, something like
100%.
that.
Like our campus is very big. It's a
Dude,
very big campus. So
biggest application for college students because it is impossible to navigate in between classes around campus, in the time that they give you. Just pushing, no way.
yeah, my shoulders would be blown out too.
Yeah.
And we do
All
have
right.
someone, Kathy. I don't know if you're still listening. She commented earlier. She's the parent of a C4, C5 quad son out there. He's 23 and who's newly injured. Kathy, we're thinking about your son. I hope he's doing well, recovering and stuff. And if you want to reach out personally to any of us, I'm sure all of us are more than happy to talk to you individually. And we're here to help with your son's journey. I just wanted to touch and comment on that because this is all about
good.
new, people, and it's hard for family members and everyone who's going through this stuff for the first time. It's something that we have touched on before, but your family members go through a trauma all of their own, outside of what you go through, individually, with your own experience, the disability, you're especially parents and siblings and stuff. I mean, Ashley and Nikki, you guys are unique because you're both going through it. But that's why I remember something I didn't realize early on was the trauma that my family went through. Yeah, the struggles they went through separate of my disability, my injury, kind of alongside it. Seeing all that trauma and experiencing it firsthand. So shout out to all the family members, all the awesome moms, dads, brothers, sisters, girlfriends, and your boyfriends, and amazing people that support all of us in our lives. You guys are the ones that make it so much easier.
Yeah.
Well said, Tom. Yeah, that's perfect,
Yeah.
man.
And thanks to everyone that was watching. You guys are all awesome.
Yeah,
come back
Exactly.
every.
All right. Yeah. So I guess if unless there's anything else, I think that was it. We can go ahead and wrap it up for the day. So
Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't.
yes,
Yeah.
and also Nikki's channel is in the description. Also, if you guys, that she has her own YouTube as well, which I don't know if we mentioned, but subscribe to
Make
her
sure to
channel
follow
as well too.
DJ on his Instagram. Always
And
posting fun
yeah, and
content
everybody's
posts all the
Instagrams
time.
are available. So follow and yeah, like, subscribe, all that stuff. We will see you guys next week, and live to roll.
Awesome.
Mom.
Yeah.